Good morning, everyone. Lots going on, as usual, and I will try and cover it all. Well, I'll do my best. Okay, first, Canadian politics, obviously Canadian politics. The tweet is, quote, "Our diversity is and always has been our greatest strength as a nation." Donald Trump doesn't get that. We need a president who does. Oh, that's Joe Biden. That's Joe Biden. Can you believe it? Diversity is our strengthy whatever. It sounds like Andrew Scheer. It sounds like Peter MacKay. It sounds like Justin Trudeau. It sounds like every globalist who has ever said diversity is our strength, while simultaneously not arresting people or letting people out on bail who were not born in Canada, who came to Canada and are now committing crimes. And we can't get rid of them. We can't deport them. We can't do anything with them because of the UN. Because of the UN Compact on Migration and Refugees, which Canada built the framework for. So we wouldn't be very good citizens of the UN, and Justin Trudeau wouldn't get his UN Security Council seat if he started deporting these people, regardless of their criminal history from abroad, regardless of their criminal history in Canada. Diversity is our strength. Hashtag every globalist ever. What an absolute, aside from the fact that Joe Biden is completely senile, aside from the fact that he's corrupt, aside from the fact that the Ukraine has a lot of questions for him and his family, aside from all of that, this should just underline how little you want somebody who says this trash as a leader of your country. Period. What an absolute just joke. It seems like the whole world's politics is just a joke. It seems like somebody figured out, if you want to lead a population, you don't want to have your face on it, right? You don't want to be the guy who the public blames for the missteps, right? Regardless of what the missteps are, because the liberals and the conservatives are offering exactly the same policies, right? Oh, we're going to, temporary foreign workers deserve a path to citizenship, and we should open the borders completely. It's the same two sides of their mouth, right? It's the same thing, just framed in a different way. And it's garbage, right? It's garbage. Nobody has Canada's best interests at heart, and nobody has since the early 1980s, and I don't know about before that. But it's incredible. It's a consistent march to vilify and shame anybody who wants to keep traditional Canadian values alive. And it's a shame. Diversity is our strength. Just not your values, dear viewer, not mine, right? Diverse values, other values, not Canadian values. It's really weird. And globalist. It's not weird. It's a coordinated. It's a coordinated thing. People are not doing this by accident. Like, you have to understand this. This is not a mistake. This isn't. He didn't hear this and think that's a really good idea. Did you see Joe Biden plagiarize the UK guy talking about his wife not going to college and that's a darn shame? Joe Biden gave the same speech as the United Kingdom. He was in the House of Lords, so parliamentarian. But Joe Biden in the 1980s gave the same speech. It was the Women Deserve Education speech. It was the same thing. Globalist. It's the same garbage. It's the same trash. Okay, sorry. Diatribing a lot today. Moving on. This, I think, is ridiculous. I think the elementary school teachers and the other teachers, I worked in education. For a long, long time, I worked in education. I worked in schools. I have friends who are teachers. This is ridiculous. Okay, we're not going to strike during March break because you've got vacation plans. Here is Hamilton Spectator, but this is a National Post. I've got too many articles on National. I've read too many articles on National Post this week, so whatever. Anyway, elementary teachers to resume weekly strikes after March break unless deal reached. So they've got time to strike every week while the kids are in school, but while the kids aren't in school, we don't have time to strike. We've got other places to be than the picket line. Weak, teachers, and your support is non-existent. Non-existent. Your friends and family may support you, but parents and anybody who's working, sorry, go to work. And if you're striking, strike, but don't take March break off. Come on, get real. And if I was Lisi, if I was I'm sorry if I've got his name wrong, I would lock them out. I would lock them out for March break. I wouldn't pay them, or I'd return the students, say all of the dates for the strikes need to be made up and it'll be done during the March break. You don't want to strike during the March break? We'll see how quickly that changes when the students are there. It's just, again, it's games, right? And it's The teachers are being manipulated by the unions. The teachers are saying the problem is violence in the classroom and we need more money to combat the violence. But nobody is talking about actually combating the violence. When you have a bored kid in class or a kid who doesn't understand the work or whatever, the kid is going to act out. That creates contagion. I've worked in classrooms. I understand how this works. When you have one kid who acts out, then you can have a situation where that kid can be handled. But when you have 3 or 4, it's a write-off, and the rest of the kids suffer. The rest of the kids have a hard time. So the only way to deal with the violence in the classroom, and I'm talking about the beginnings of violence in the classroom, which is inattention in the classroom and chaos in the classroom, that breeds violence because the teacher can't handle it all, right? And then somebody gets into a fight and somebody gets hit. And as soon as somebody starts to say no, the students will become violent and attack that person. Chairs, backpacks being swung, desks being flipped, all of that happens, and all of that is violence. Spitting, punching, all of that happens. I've been in classrooms where that happens, in regular schools. So it's just incredible that these teachers are being manipulated so well by their unions that they think more money will fix this. More money will not fix this. You can't fix contagion in a classroom by paying the teacher more. It's just not going to work. Sorry, you've been manipulated. So that's why I don't support this, because it's a union game. Somebody start talking about dealing with the violence in the classroom and I'll support it. But at this point in time, a wage increase does nothing. Doesn't help the kids, doesn't help the teachers. Only person it helps is the union. Reducing class sizes, again, same thing. Only person it helps is the union because they increase their piece of the pie, right? Okay, I don't have much time, so I've got to get through this quick. This tweet was deleted. This is incredible. So this is Felix Yang. This is COVID-19 stuff. He says, Gilead Sciences, my physician colleague, has worsening coronavirus. Gilead reps said they don't have access to the drug trial on weekends. Please help. Contact me, please. Healthy 30-year-old male with sudden, rapid progressing respiratory failure. Posted with permission. Oxygen's not working, okay? My colleague has a 9-month-old child. This is not your regular flu. Any physician who says this is just a flu but a little bit worse is dead wrong. An abundance of precaution is needed at this time. If anyone, China, has advice on what to do for this patient, hashtag ePeeps. And all of the replies are still there, but Twitter deleted this tweet. Okay, here's the tweet. Links in the description to the archive, and here's the same tweet. I don't know if I can do this properly here. There you go. I don't know if you can see it, but there's the same tweet. You can't see it. Links in the description if you want to check it out. But Twitter deleted this tweet. Weird. The reporting on COVID-19 in Ontario has changed as well. They're now reporting, I've been highly critical of this. It was only weekdays at 10:30 a.m. and now they're doing reports twice a day, 10:30 and 5:30, 7 days a week. So, hey, we've reached the point where people need to be updated daily on this and twice daily. So that's good and bad. I'm glad that they're reporting, and it's bad that we're at a situation where we need it. We've gone up by 1 since yesterday, and this is before the 10:30 update, so we've only gone up by 1 at this point in the last 12 hours. But who knows? Who knows where we'll go? I hope that these numbers stay low, but if we're looking around the world for indications of where our numbers will go, up is the likely direction. Here is the last story for this morning, maybe the last story. RCMP spying on you is the last story, but here's the last major meaty one this morning. Well, Andrew Werdick is tweeting, and who's he? Federal Director of Canadian Taxpayer Federation. He's tweeting, the Liberals were elected on an explicit promise to run deficits totaling $25 billion over 3 years and then return to balance. Do you remember that? I'm looking right at Canadians when I tell you we'll return to balance. Yeah, sure, Justin Trudeau. Everybody believes you. Nice beard. Moron. Anyway, instead, they ran up $80 billion in new debt and are promising deficits indefinitely. But sure, Minister, tell me more about your stellar track record. And this is a Rosemary Barton tweet, and she says, Bill Morneau, who's the finance minister, says Canada has a strong fiscal position, a low level of debt to deal with challenges of the economy now and beyond. Okay, and here's the article. Here's the post. .on.ca. It says, a good position, Morneau says Canada's fiscal room to respond to market collapse. With oil prices falling 25% and the Toronto Stock Exchange posting its worst day since 1987, Finance Minister Bill Morneau said the government has fiscal room to weather the storm. I don't know how he thinks that, but he thinks that. Back to the article. Morneau spoke to reporters after markets closed Monday and one of the worst trading days on record, with big plunges and energy firms being especially hit hard. Quote, we have a strong fiscal position. We've been lowering our level of debt as a function of our economy over the last 5 years. That puts us in a good position to support people as they go through challenges. I just want to show you this because, I mean, here's the debt. You've been lowering the debt for the last 5 years? Okay, let's just count back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Every single one of those years, and this year Harper was in charge till October, right? Justin Trudeau was elected October 2015. And so these increases are relatively small. That's a big increase, but we're talking 30 billion, 591 to 620 billion, yeah, $29 billion. And then these increases, 34 to 51, 51 to 71, 71 to 85, right? Like those are big increases year over year, especially from a person who promised, here's the Trudeau meter. During the 2015 election campaign, then Liberal leader Justin Trudeau said he would run short-term deficits of no more than $10 billion a year to stimulate a sluggish Canadian economy, but vowed to balance the books by the end of his first mandate. The budget confirmed that this promise will not be kept, right? Back to the article here. The Liberals are forecasting a $26 billion deficit for this financial year and a $28 billion deficit in 2020. But Morneau stressed, that as a share of the broader economy, it's a small number and that the government has fiscal room to respond. So, I mean, he said that they were reducing their debt load too. And I mean, that just doesn't look true. Maybe I don't know math. I'm fully willing to admit that math was not my strong suit in school. And maybe there's some way that this graph showing Canadian government debt is somehow showing a reduction in debt burden and that I just don't get it. But it could also be that Bill Morneau is not telling the truth. It really could be. So who knows? That's the data. John Tory, in the middle of the coronavirus crisis with 31 confirmed cases, 35 confirmed cases in Ontario, 31 active, 4 resolved, not dead. And John Tory is going to London? Here's the Toronto Sun. Mayor Tory quietly heads off to London amid coronavirus crisis. Does he get a private jet or does he just get to fly commercial? I'm not sure. RCMP says it will limit its use of facial recognition tech, but won't stop using it entirely. Oh, great. So the RCMP is just using facial recognition AI technology, Clearview technology, where there are multiple police forces across Ontario that have used it. They had a trial. You know how like, oh, sign up for your free trial and you can run these images first for free and then after that you've got to pay, but you'll see how powerful our tool is, right? So there was 4, including the Toronto Police, Hamilton Police, I think Niagara Police, and there was one more and I can't remember, Halton maybe, got into this Clearview, I think it's called Clearview AI trial, and the RCMP did too. And all of them in Ontario stopped using it pending confirmation that it would be legal to use. And well, the RCMP just, whatever, that's fine. Just don't worry about it, guys. We won't use it, and we won't stop using it entirely. It's fine. Just don't you trust the RCMP? I mean, the way they handled those blockades, professionalism, top notch, right? Miss Lucky, doing a great job. I'm being sarcastic. I hope you understand that. The RCMP is, I don't trust them at all, and I don't want any AI facial recognition tech used, period. I think it's a very dangerous, awful idea. Awful. But I think that a lot of the leadership in Canada are making terrible missteps in how they deal with pretty much everything, right? From the economy to coronavirus, except that, I mean, now at least Ontario is reacting and reporting a little bit better, but the response is still minimal compared to what we know, how this thing rolls out, right? It seems, like I said, it seems like everything else, ham-fisted and poorly executed, and while Justin Trudeau smiles and tells you that he's fulfilling his mandate. That's the line, right? We're doing what the Canadian voters want. Well, not this Canadian voter. And I think there's a lot of people out there who are frustrated too. But it's not like we have leadership to choose from. It's not like we have a good, viable, robust conversation happening in the House of Commons. Basically, anybody who disagrees with the Greens or the Liberals or the NDP are labeled white supremacists. Even the Conservatives, who are very, very centrist. And I mean, centrist to the point of globalist, right? But centrist nonetheless, certainly not white supremacists. And still, like, all you need to do is say, oh, that's pretty racist of you, and you've won the argument. Welcome to Canada 2020. What a crazy place to be, right? Like, really, just insane. And with that, I don't know what else to say. What an insane thing to live through, right? Our government's complete inaction on blockades, on terrorism, on derailments, on coronavirus, on everything, on the economy imploding. If your business had been running since like the 80s, and in a day in 2020, you had a day just implode and look like 1987, that would be a really bad day for your business. You would do something about that. There would be a response. And the response of our government so far has been, everything's okay, we've got lots of fiscal room, despite the evidence to the contrary. And so, we have to continue to live through this insane time period of globalism and speaking out of both sides of politicians' mouths, and I think that's nothing new. And having them lie through the press and have people believe the lies despite the evidence to the contrary. What a crazy thing. Thanks for watching, everybody. Sorry, I'm a little disjointed today. I have to get going. I really do. School calls. So thank you for watching. I know I said that. Check out CanadaPoly.com, CanadaReport.co, and have a wonderful, wonderful